Hey everyone, welcome back to Birds of a Feather Talk Together. One of our listeners, Ryan Shostack, got in touch with Shannon and wanted to come on and talk about a few different things. One of them being making birding groups more inclusive to all types of people. Ryan talks about being on the autism spectrum and how much he enjoys birding, but also thinks that there could be ways to improve birding groups. In addition to talking about this, Ryan is also super knowledgeable about birds and wanted to talk about the Black-backed Woodpecker, a bird that he's seen multiple times. We're super grateful that Ryan reached out, and he was very sweet and such an interesting person to talk to. Ryan's also super knowledgeable about wolves too, so this led to some fun discussion as well. As always, it's married ornithologists and Field Museum curators John Bates and Shannon Hackett, alongside myself, RJ, and my wife, Amanda. Okay, let's go grab our binoculars and let's get into it. So welcome back, everyone. We're excited to have Ryan joining us. And so Shannon, I think you and Ryan have kind of been in communication. So do you want to maybe kick it off and explain kind of how you guys got in touch?
We got in touch through Facebook, the good uses of social media. So, believe it or not, there are good uses of social media. Science is one of them. But yeah, he friended me on Facebook. I'm not sure. How did you find me?
I think you guys knew, it's an old story. 2016, there was a Birds and Brews event. One of my good friends, Daniel Silver, his father, Michael Silver, they live in Chicago. Yeah.
Cool.
Actually, that's when I came out in October to see the Kingfisher exhibit. I stayed with them, so.
That's awesome.
And Ryan came to the museum to see the Kingfisher Day on a Bears game day.
Oh, very cool.
Chicago Marathon, too.
Busy weekend.
Oh my gosh. That was the most Chicago weekend ever. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, no.
Yeah.
I got the very first year, we lived here. We got here, and 24 hours later, John went into the field. And I had no idea about the Chicago Marathon. I didn't know it existed. We didn't even have cable TV or anything at that time. So I hadn't even found a radio station that I knew anything about. And I decided to drive to the museum on the marathon day, not understanding that they close all the roads. And I ended up in traffic for hours, not being able to go anywhere, not being able to get off of Lakeshore Drive. Yeah, that was my introduction to Chicago and the Chicago Marathon. And now I'm very aware of the Chicago Marathon.
Yeah.
I also got stuck in the weirdest of way one time when I was pregnant. I mean, I was really pregnant, 8-9 months pregnant. And there was an unannounced swearing-in ceremony of new U.S. citizens in Grant Park. And they closed Lakeshore Drive for it. No announcement. I was just sitting there right near Navy Pier, the bend at Navy Pier, for a long, long time because this was a really big deal. They had a lot of people at this event. And I remember by the time I got to the museum, John was completely freaking out, thinking that I was going to give birth in the little white Nissan Sentra that we have.
Oh, wow.
We didn't have cell phones or anything. Yeah.
Well, so Ryan, when you came to Chicago, was it just to see the Kingfisher exhibit specifically?
Pretty much. It's one of my favorite families of birds. I actually have the book right here that kind of sparked that. I'll show you the exact picture and the exact species. Audubon Society Book of Water Birds. You look in the top right-hand corner. This species was actually featured. It's called a Madagascar kingfisher, or Malagasy kingfisher. Corythornis vinciaudes.
Cool.
The elevation of, I can't remember, maybe the pygmy kingfisher in Madagascar was done by some genetic work that based on samples that were collected in Madagascar and studied at the Field Museum by Ben Marks and Dave Willard and Steve Good.
Wow.
So what did you think of the Kingfisher exhibit then? And then tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do.
It was a really good exhibit. One thing I didn't realize how small some of those species are and how big some of them are in real life.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Malagasy kingfisher, just how tiny it actually is. And one thing I didn't realize, that crest of theirs actually is almost iridescent.
Yeah.
So was not expecting that. Pictures of them don't do any justice.
Awesome.
So yeah, My name is Ryan Shostack. I am 38. I've been a birder my whole life. One of the reasons why I love birds so much, because I'm diagnosed as being on the autism spectrum, specifically with Asperger's. Um, Most people around the spectrum have a specific interest. They go down the rabbit hole, so to speak, and just really absorb. And ornithology just happens to be mine. Like other types of animals too. Actually, reading up a lot lately on wolves. Rick McIntyre and Doug Smith in Yellowstone. It's really interesting. It's actually the females that are in charge of the pack, not the males.
Awesome.
I don't know if you guys
Wow.
knew that.
I didn't know that. That's so cool.
Were your parents into bird watching, or is it just something you de novo started doing?
It was something I just started on my own. My father was a duck hunter. He also a deer hunter, fisherman. So sometimes outside fishing trips, you identify what's flying around.
That's awesome.
Amanda's a duck hunter too.
No, I'm
she
not-
is.
I'm-
Amanda.
I'm not a
tell us.
hunter, but like you, Ryan, I have a bunch of hunters in my family, so I totally know what you mean. That's a great way to see wildlife.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I don't hunt, but actually the gateway birds that started all were ducks, specifically golden eye ducks.
Awesome.
So,
We saw a
cool.
golden eye just this past weekend.
Yes.
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Yeah, it was so exciting.
So
yeah.
Ryan, where did you grow up birding then?
So I live in Syracuse, New York. So around here we have places like Montezuma National Wildlife Refuge, well known. The Lake Ontario shoreline brings in a lot of migrants. We have Derby Hill. It's a big hawk watch. And about 2 hours away from here is the Adirondack Park, which you can actually see boreal species. It's one of the few places in New York State where there's a pocket of forest you'd otherwise have to go miles north of here into Canada. See things like Canada jay, spruce grouse, black-backed woodpecker, oriole chickadee, and so on. There's lots of good trails to go on. One area that's good is Bloomingdale Bog Trail. Gray jays, when they're hungry, it's just a matter of being in there 5 minutes. They're already coming in to check you out. They will take anything out of your hand.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Oriole chickadee, that one will make you work. You gotta, unfortunately, with climate change, you gotta go higher up. Whiteface, there's a seasonal highway you can take up there. You get above 3,000 feet. You get the chickadee. And it's also one of the best places to find Bicknell's thrush, another highlight up there. It's a very rare species now.
Yeah, that's a specimen number one in the Field Museum collection is a Bicknell's thrush from the wintering grounds down in the Dominican Republic.
Oh,
Wow.
very cool.
Yeah, I guess one of the reasons why they're declining as the temperature warms, Swainson's thrushes are moving upslope and they're actually outcompeting Bicknell's. 20 years ago, there were no American robins on top of some of the high peaks. Nowadays, it's all a different story. And the American three-toed woodpecker, cousin of the bird we'll be talking about on this episode, has not been reliably seen up there in over a decade now. It's kind of like an Adirondack ivory bill. They could still be there. Lots of areas inaccessible. They could be hiding. Nobody really knows for sure.
Yeah, they're definitely an enigmatic bird and certainly something I never count on seeing anywhere.
Yeah, I really dipped on them in northern Minnesota a year ago in the winter.
So tell us about the black-backed that you've seen, the black-backed woodpecker, Ryan. So you've seen a number of them before?
Yes. Once they had a good confirmed sighting, it's like the floodgates, so to speak, opened. The first two sightings were very brief flyovers. Up of course in the Adirondacks, any place in New York State, you're going to find them. One really good look at video I sent in that picture. I know they're not the best quality. That was a female. It was at the head of the Bloomingdale Bog Trail. Meanwhile, I got that photo of her 7 Canada jays just surrounding,
Oh, wow.
just looking for more peanuts. Yeah. Male black-backed, check out another video of. That was last year, a friend of mine up there looking for goshawk nests. No goshawks, but got a good 20-minute view of him. And that bird, because it's local to my friend where he lives, actually followed that bird for a season. Actually got to see him father a brood. Yep, they're a hit or miss species up there. Best places to look are around the boreal bogs, anywhere above 3,000 feet. You like black spruce, balsam fir, anywhere the trees are dying or dead. They have a very interesting habit. They flick off pieces of wood or flaking. It's another way to tell signs of them that they're in the area. Just look for flaked off bark. What they'll also do is three toads also flake. Blackbacks will actually drill, unlike three toads. So if you find something that looks like a drill bit went through a piece of balsam fir or black spruce, it could be a blackback.
So have you had luck finding them?
Yes, I have.
But because of that, those patterns on the trees?
Now I know what to look for. A lot of other times it just happened that, I guess, just being at the right place at the right time, right habitat. A lot of it was learning, listening to recordings of what their drumming sounds like. It's very distinctive. And their call, which is it's like a keck, keck. They also do like a keck, keck, like a snarl at the end. If you listen for that, and that could give away the presence of one as well.
The videos of them pecking are really something. I mean, they hit with such force.
Yep.
They almost like lift their entire. Most woodpeckers brace themselves. They have stiffened tail feathers, and they brace themselves. But this thing kind of goes. It lifts its whole back of its body out to smack its head back into the into the tree. It was something.
So I wonder if any of that has anything to do with the fact that they only have three toes.
It
is.
I think from what I've read, yes. Yeah. Them and the American three-toed.
Yeah.
There's also a Eurasian three-toed in Europe and Asia.
According to the people who do morphological work, that if they had the other toe, it would prevent them from the way they kind of lift off.
Right.
And so they only have three toes, which...
So Ryan, when you first ID'd them, it was a flyover?
Yep.
So were you...
The sound and the...
Okay.
It's very brief, but yeah.
That's good. Did you use Merlin or were you just able to figure it out? Because we use Merlin like all the time.
I don't use Merlin a whole lot.
Wow. That's impressive.
I've heard some crazy stories about it. Somebody, from what I've heard, once just put it on going around the block, and it actually picked up, of all things, African bird species. So
I believe that.
the algorithm was definitely off.
Yeah, Amanda and I use it all the time, but not to positively ID, just to give us a little point us in the right direction. And we try to see it with our eyes.
Ryan, funny story related to what you just said. RJ and I, in our neighborhood, there's this, RJ, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Obnoxious.
Tell everybody
obnoxious neighbor that they have some thing that it's a motion detector that plays bird calls to keep other birds out of their yard, and it plays all kinds of birds that are not native to where we are. And one time we were walking by and had Merlin going, and all of a sudden started picking up all this stuff, and it's all because they have this motion activated speaker to scare other birds out of their yard.
Yes. And I swear it was like an African bird that we first heard.
So would Merlin would pick that up? Is that what you did? Did you use Merlin to pick up whatever the
we did. Yeah.
In the very first time, it took us like 30 seconds to figure out what was going on. We were like all of a sudden picking up, we're like, this can't be right. And then we were like, oh, it's our obnoxious neighbor playing this bird call to scare birds away.
Oh.
Yeah. At first we were super excited because oh my gosh, there's so
What was it?
I forget what it was. It's a rotating thing. So sometimes we go by and it's been like local stuff before. It was peregrine falcon a couple times, but then it was some African thing at one point too. Yeah. So I don't know. It must just.
Now I'm fascinated. We need to go do some work and see whether or not it really works.
Yeah. This is a crazy neighbor.
I just don't believe that works.
Oh, right.
I know.
Yeah. There's
Yeah.
a
I don't
How
even
about
know what
there's a
they're trying
there's
to
a for
do.
sale sign at their next door neighbor, so I think they've upset. Maybe it's not keeping birds away, but it's getting rid of the neighbors.
Neighbors.
To give a shout out to another institution up in your neck of the woods, the Cornell Labs and the Macaulay Library, who keep track of all that, are doing a better and better job of building up training data to allow those the the identifications to be a lot better than they were even 2 years ago or so.
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah, that is awesome.
See, there's a thing about black-backed woodpecker. That's a bird that I wonder if they have any predators or anything known about them being preyed upon. Because they're
Red squirrels.
okay. There you
Oh,
go. They
that's
come into the
interesting.
nest.
Red squirrels. Yes, eat the babies. For that, I kind of hate red squirrels. Not gonna lie.
I'm not fond of squirrels
Gruesome
flat out at
watch.
all. I think their
Yeah.
evil hearts
Um,
are behind those cute faces. And they're also dumb as posts too. So they
Yeah,
bug
yeah.
me.
Yeah. Well,
Malicious and
I think
stupid.
they're also eaten by Cooper's hawks, if I'm not
Oh,
mistaken.
interesting.
That's nuts.
That's an interesting thing because
So-
I would wonder actually how much they would overlap with Cooper's hawks, but I guess they do for a little bit. I mean, I guess a hungry goshawk would take them too.
Oh yeah. There's also their habitat martins, which I would think would raid the nest, or possibly even like a hungry black bear or brown bear even.
Very cool.
So Ryan, how would you rank their camouflage ability on the burned trees for people who don't know much about these birds? Thought to be black, all black on the back because of camouflage. They obviously have they have white, but if you look at them on the back, they're black, and they prefer trees that have been burned. Oh, obviously that could be color matching on the substrate. What do you think?
Yeah, it's if they sit pretty still on a bird tree, they pretty much disappear. Same thing up here. Like again, there's not a whole lot of wildfires in the Adirondacks here, so they're down in the shade of a forest. They sit pretty still. They could be sitting there the whole time and you don't see them.
Sorry, OJ. How do they compare in size with other woodpeckers? Where do you rate them?
About the size of a hairy woodpecker, I'd say. Those two overlap the hairies, what I've noticed, kind of dominate them.
Yeah, I read that about them, that they are not super competitive in that way. They're
No.
reserved.
Yeah, they will not come to suet feeders. They exclusively eat bark beetle larvae.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And so the other thing I read, there's some interesting literature about, as you said before, Ryan, they're declining because of forest management programs. So in places where they've stopped burning and or they've logged out all of the trees, you don't get dead, dried out snags that catch on fire and go black. And so they have to find somewhere else to find those beetles. They're so tied to their beetles.
Yep. Another interesting thing I read back, I think it was in the 60s, correct me if I'm wrong, the Dutch elm disease outbreaks. It actually brought that species out of range, so they are prone to eruptions once in a great while. People in places like Pennsylvania were actually seeing the species, and I think that one was foraging in a dying hardwood tree of all things. It's kind of mind-blowing.
Yeah, these eruptions are are really interesting about them. And, there's actually there's not very much work that's been done on these woodpeckers at all. There's very little genomic work to understand how these eruptions might influence how different genetically populations are from each other. Do you think it's young birds that are doing the eruptions?
I'd be my guess. They're being chased out by mom and dad.
Well, and I'm gonna guess, what kind of like we've talked about a little bit with snowy owls and the other bird I think of like this is red-breasted nuthatches. They must have years where there are more bark beetles and they raise more young and they fledge more young, and those young then have to survive the winter, and they're just more of them.
Yeah.
There may be less of the areas further north, so they get pushed out further for foraging opportunities.
Ryan, I was going to ask, so this was my introduction to this bird, and I wanted to know why you picked it, or like why it's one of your favorites. What do you think is the most special thing?
I remember it's another bird I remember seeing in a bird book a long time ago. It draws me to a lot of birds. I'm not going to lie. Some of the different color patterns and variation, in different species. And it just happens to be a very dapper looking bird. Just personally, bird watching took me a little bit, kind of working towards finding at least one life black-backed woodpecker. And
Yeah,
so far, I think I've had 13 encounters.
that's
Wow,
awesome.
cool.
That is awesome.
Mhm.
It is really dapper.
Yeah.
That's a great way to put it. It is super
Yeah.
good looking.
And male has a little bit of yellow up on his head, which is different. Most other woodpeckers have red.
Yes.
North American woodpeckers, anyway.
Yeah. I was just saying, I had never seen a woodpecker with yellow like this. And I was thinking it also was some hard work on your part, because if they're well camouflaged, I feel like you got to feel good about that. It's always fun when you find a bird that's
Yeah.
hard to find.
Yeah. Shout out to a couple of my guide friends for helping me achieve that too.
So awesome. Cool.
All right. So what bird haven't you seen that you really want to right now?
Ooh, love to go out west and find dusky grouse.
Cool.
I am actually saving. I turn 40 next year. I've always wanted to go to bringing this back to kingfishers to Papua New Guinea. It is ground zero for kingfisher diversity. So one species I'm intrigued with is used to be part of what was called the variable dwarf kingfisher complex.
Yeah.
It's called the Manus dwarf kingfisher. The species is dimorphic. The female has a largely orange head, blue on her crown. She actually kind of looks a little bit like an African pygmy. But up until, I want to say 2 years ago, there haven't been any color photos. They're actually on the Search for Lost Birds website on that list.
RJ and Amanda, do you know about that?
No.
So that's a group. Actually, someone who works here at the Field Museum now, Cameron Rutt, was part of this. But a guy named Mittermeier basically put together this program where they would go through checklists and say what hasn't been seen in the last 40 years or so, and can we go out and find it? So they've gone all over the world and found quite a few things.
That's so cool.
Oh,
Black-naped pheasant pigeon, that was a big story.
oh, that's really cool.
That's awesome. So how long is that list? Is it really long? Lost birds list?
Yeah, good question. I remember looking at it. I think it's on the order of 100 birds or so.
Okay. Very cool.
Yeah. There's been a lot of, found a number of them too within the past couple of years since they came out with that list.
That's awesome.
It's been pretty neat. Definitely worth checking out.
Very
Definitely gets
cool.
you to some far-flung corners of the world.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So is it birds that just haven't been seen lately, or is it birds that are potentially extinct, or?
I mean, sort of both.
Okay.
And I think they can get a sense for things that, some of it, if the habitat is all gone, there's a reasonable chance you're wasting your time
Okay.
looking. But, if the habitat's there, then it may just be that the bird's secret, that you just need to talk to the right local people who have some idea about it.
Okay.
That was the case with that pigeon, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What country was that pigeon in?
It was a terrestrial thing from New Guinea.
Oh, New Guinea. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool.
Yep.
Very cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
I was going to ask Ryan, you mentioned two birds that are like outside of New York. Do you travel a lot for birding?
Nowadays, I'm actually going to the second ever Jackson Hole Birding Festival. It'll be coming up around Memorial Day. So hoping to get some life species out there. One of the birds on one of the field trips is actually a possibility for American three-toed woodpecker. I've seen the black-back, but no luck on that species yet.
That's awesome.
Could be dusky grouse. Who knows what else out there.
That's awesome.
Plus, there's some cool mammals. You got bears, wolves, elk.
So Ryan, you mentioned guiding. Do you do that with a lot of? Do you do that locally around where you live? Do you guide other people nature walking or bird watching?
I don't know. I don't know. There's a local Audubon chapter, that kind of like the whole inclusion
Yeah,
topic.
that's one of the things we wanted to talk about.
That's been a little, yeah.
Do you want to talk more about that?
Basically, there's a guy who took over field trips. Fortunately, sometimes in the birding, you get people just so big ego, you just can't be humble. One of his walks basically sent me to the wrong location. Didn't even send a message to say, last minute, we're going to the spot. And yeah, he just trying to at least get an apology out of that local chapter has been kind of iffy. So,
So
I think there's
frustrating.
so much
That's all.
variation in how these groups are. I mean, personally, I find bird watching groups can be pretty impenetrable at times because you have to learn the language.
yeah.
And if you don't speak the language, you're almost immediately outside of whatever the circle is. And to kind of break people's hands apart so you can get in there can be extraordinarily hard. Um, it becomes very
Yes.
click-like, and so it's anyway, and then you can go some places where the bird watchers are the most warm and welcoming people who will spend hours with you trying to show you something. So, but I do think ornithology has a troubling relationship in that way at times. A lot of people feel that way. I mean, we certainly saw a little bit of that, um, with incidents in Central Park, uh, during COVID,
hmm
and starting the whole Karen kind of set of memes. But I do think that
Oh, yeah.
there's not enough attention given to people with disabilities of any sort. And one of the things that I
hmm
admire about a guy named Ed Young, who I started paying attention to him during COVID because he wrote some of the best accounts of people with COVID, especially people who got long COVID. And he's clearly has a ginormous heart and is very sensitive about to people. And he's created um, a series of birding experiences for people with severe physical and other kind of limitations where they're all designed. There's no steps. There are boardwalks you can go on. They can be very short so that people who don't have the stamina for it can break away. And he started that on his own. He started bird watching during the pandemic, and now he's a fanatical bird watcher and he's a photographer, and his photos are just spectacular. Um, and he has a blog. I don't know if it's Substack or not, but I really like every single one of them because he's so thoughtful in how he approaches things and so caring. And I think that should spread a little
Yeah.
bit in birding communities. And it shouldn't take an outsider to the community like he was to make it people aware and to do some different things. There's not this competitive idea of who's going to get to the top of the mountain first leaves out people who can't do that, um, but may still love birds and want to be around other people when they're watching birds without it being
Yeah.
some kind of contest. So, do you know, Ryan, are there any Audubon groups that have dedicated autism events?
None that I could find, honestly. Um, I've reached out actually to ABA to kind of address this. I feel like it should be brought up more.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Um,
What kinds of things do you think would work? What would you like to see happen?
just all around inclusion. Not, shouldn't be just all gentlemen's club. It's for everybody. It's for people autistic or not. It should be for people, people of color, LGBTQ. Birding's for everybody. Women, men.
I do think, though, that it should be, but I don't think it can be if there's not intention behind events.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's just that some of the local Audubon chapters need to just get with
They're
get
refreshing.
with the program and do some things
Yeah.
differently because I think those things can spread. So if someone does a good job and it gets noticed and people pay attention, then there will be a larger push, I think, for more inclusive events. So not every Audubon Society meeting or event or bird walk has to be like for the top 1% of or 10% of bird watchers, right? The goal should be to,
Mhm.
I mean, the only way we save birds is if people care about them. The only way they care about them is if they
Mhm.
know something. And the big way to know something is for people like us to talk to people about birds.
Yeah.
Uh,
Educating, learning how to talk to somebody who's autistic on how to communicate, listening to what we know too, putting all ideas together, coming together. It's what it should be.
Have you thought about asking that local Audubon Society if, they couldn't work with you to create events for people with autism so that they get educated, other people get educated, and you have a chance to, take a leadership role in that?
I honestly have not, but did have a contact with somebody who does work with them. I think could be of help for that. This individual's trying to actually get the name changed from Audubon Society
Yeah.
because of all the controversy surrounding John James Audubon.
Yeah, that's happened around here.
Oh,
Audubon
yeah.
Society no longer has Audubon in it, and in Wisconsin too. So we know quite a few local chapters that have um,
Yeah.
changed their name. So what do you think, a bird walk would look like for people with autism? What would you want it to include, or what could be important?
Hello. I guess I've never, to be honest, really thought of it. They're really into birds like myself. It should be open to anybody who's interested, not just closed off. So kind of come to get to know people on the autism spectrum, kind of see how we see the world, listen to our thoughts and ideas about birds, but we know too. Some people that um not so much myself, but like senses, it could be over sensory. So another thing that should be taken into account.
Yeah, I mean, I have a completely different experience with birds when I lost my hearing in my one ear because I can't find them. So which
Yeah.
is super frustrating, super annoying, and I can't do anything about it, right? So, you know, it's like,
Yeah.
you know, so y so looking for birds is a completely different experience for me than it was, and I don't think most bird clubs think about people who can't hear, even though elderly people often can't hear, and, um, so there's a whole swath of bird life that's not accessible to them through their ears anymore.
Yeah.
And I think those are important things to take into consideration if you want to, you know. The good thing about birds is they're everywhere, and you don't have to be able to climb up a mountain to see them or appreciate them either.
No.
So there just has to be opportunity, and then people have to know about it so that they can participate. I don't know how
Yeah.
you attract people. I mean, how do people get attracted to Audubon societies? What kinds of community things do they do?
Um, Depends. Usually a lot of times it's the same old group around here. The one thing that brings out a lot of people is Onondaga Lake is in the area. It is a big wintering ground for bald eagles. So a lot of people like to come out there to photograph them. Sometimes they do bird walks.
So I wanted to ask you, so it sounds like you've gotten pretty into photography and videography too, right?
A little bit, yeah.
Are you doing
I
that?
usually use my phone, but birds can be a little hard, especially smaller birds. You have some photos from Yellowstone last year, mountain bluebirds end up
Uh,
turning out to be more scenery photos. Well, little piece of sky blue surrounded by Mammoth Hot Springs.
cool.
Where it was easier to get pictures of bighorn sheep. Got a picture of the Junction Butte pack of gray wolves
wow.
feeding.
That's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, of course, the bison, it's just walk past cars and all that up there. So,
That's so cool.
yeah.
So do you love the West, Ryan?
I think part of that stems from megafauna. I like native megafauna a lot. So the greater Yellowstone ecosystem right now is the one place in the lower 48 where you can see a good diversity of that.
So, now, what does megafauna mean? Does that mean animals or?
Usually larger animals.
Cool.
So in this case out there, it'd be bison, elk, pronghorn, the wolves, grizzly bear, black bear,
Awesome.
cougar.
This
Yeah.
is so cool.
Pronghorn
Yeah.
antelope. That's the one I always think about.
Yeah. And there were a ton of them out there too.
They're so cool.
Yeah.
Have you guys, I know you've been to Colorado, obviously, because you lived there and you grew up there. What have you done further west besides going to see Indiana in the Rose Bowl play football?
We've gone to California together. We've done separate trips. So Amanda was born in California.
Oh, cool.
Just lived there briefly. But I've done like Tahoe area before. I've done like gone up to Washington and gone to like Isle Royale. Or no, not Isle Royale. What is it called? The San Juan Islands.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I've done some like kayaking around there. Didn't see any orcas, but was like in the area where you could see them, but saw a lot of seals, otters, a lot of porpoises and stuff like that. So that was one of the more like memorable experiences I've had out west, and was something that I like always think about going back to see more of.
Yeah.
Still not Arizona.
We want to go back to Arizona.
We love
We need to go see
Yeah.
Southern
Whatever,
Arizona.
John. Whatever, John.
Yeah. So, Ryan, have you heard of Isle Royale?
I have.
So, Ari and I have both been there.
Well, I've been to Copper Harbor. I haven't actually been to Isle Royale, Amanda, like you have.
Keep on forgetting
Yeah,
that. Okay.
yeah.
But I went to, when I was growing up, I went to a camp where at Michigan Tech University, and we actually got to camp and backpack at Isle Royale, and it was billed as like, you're going to see wolves and stuff. And we didn't even see like a wolf turd. We didn't see a wolf print. We didn't see a wolf turd. We saw nothing. So I'm like so impressed that you got to see like a pack. I think that's so cool.
You got to go to Lamar Valley.
Oh, yeah.
Lamar Valley in Yellowstone is the place.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yep. Larry Haney, our retired curator of mammals, always talks about the Lamar Valley.
There are cool birds down there
Yeah.
too. Dippers, you got those. Prairie falcon. One of the memorable experiences, same time while those wolves were feeding kind of a dead tree above them on the bluff. And it looked like a totem pole. I can think of it. A bunch of bald eagles, but then at the top was a golden eagle. All just
Cool.
perched there waiting their turn.
Cool.
Those are
Yeah. The one thing I wish I could have seen, obviously from a safe distance, was grizzlies. It's the only thing I saw once that if you didn't have binoculars, they were just tiny dots way out on the hills.
Wow, that might be a tad overrated and scary because the other bears are scary enough.
Yeah.
The idea of a polar bear is just really quite awesome. When you hear stories of people who are on some of those Arctic tours, they're not cute, cuddly teddy bears, you know.
No.
At the place I grew up in British Columbia, at my parents' house, we recently sold it. But there was a wooden shed just off the carport, and the bears would routinely not just break into the shed looking for food, but actually tear the entire door, both of the doors off the shed, like nothing.
Yeah, they're
Then the neighbor comes and fixes it, and the next night, off go the doors again. So I think that they would do that with steel doors. I think they are so determined and so
they're-
strong that
yeah.
yeah. And then you look out and they're just hopping, leaving giant claw marks over the fence to go into the next neighbor's yard in case they might have left their food in the, anywhere out.
Wow.
They are
Crazy.
bears are scary.
So Ryan, when is your Teton trip?
That is at around Memorial Day weekend. Any listeners are interested, it probably still has registration open. But to sound like I'm advertising.
No, what's the name of it again?
Yeah.
Jackson Hole Birding Festival.
Sounds awesome. I wish
I
we
mean,
could
people
go.
can't do things
Yep.
they don't know about, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
Yeah,
you never
That's
know
so
when
cool.
what you say is going to spark someone who lives there to pay attention or who wants to go
yeah,
to go. Jackson Hole is a really nice place. It's beautiful there.
yeah. One of the field trips is actually on the National Elk Refuge with refuge staff to look for nesting long-billed curlews.
Oh, that'll be
Oh,
fun.
nice.
Yeah. Plus, I'd like to still have not seen cinnamon teal, which could be a possibility on Flat Creek.
Cool.
Those are awesome.
Do you have any
Yeah.
friends going with you, or are you going on your own?
Well, I'm going solo on this one.
Cool. Have
That's
a
awesome.
great time.
Good
Make
for
sure to
you.
send us pictures
Yeah.
after you go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Will do.
And maybe, Ryan,
Will
if you
do.
want to come back on after your trip and talk about birds that you saw and your trip in general, we'd love to have you
Alright.
back on.
Yeah.
Sure, if it's a possibility. I'd
Yeah.
love to.
That would
Yeah.
be awesome.
Great.
Yeah.
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 Well, thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it,
Yeah.
Ryan.
Thank you,
yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
Thank you,
And
guys.
thank you for advocating
meet
for,
you.
making birding kind of more inclusive for everyone. That was
Yeah.
really powerful to hear you talk about. And, hopefully some of our listeners, if anybody, feels the same way or wants to get in touch with Ryan or would be open to that, it's powerful for you to spread the word about that. So thank you for coming on and talking about that and advocating for that, Ryan.
No, thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. It
Yeah.
means a lot.
Yeah.
So,
All right. Well, we can let you go then.
all right.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you.
Look forward to
Take
hearing
care,
about
guys.
that, Wes.
Thank you.
Talk to you soon.
But
Bye, guys.
Hey everyone, I have a fun announcement. We have some Birds of a Feather stickers that we want to give away to you. If you write a podcast review and rating in your podcast app and then email us at podcast.birdsofafeather@gmail.com, we'll send you a free sticker in the mail. We love you all. Have a great rest of your week. Thank you.